tornado that destroyed a city in 38 seconds. Joplin, 2011. Chapter 1. The sky turns green. Dad, I'm heading home. See you soon. 5:21 p.m., May 22nd, 2011. 13 minutes later, a tornado 1 mile wide, moving at 250 miles per hour, crossed directly over the road Will Norton was driving on. Will was 18. He had graduated from Joplin High School 2 hours earlier. Blue tie, cap, and gown. His father had hugged him in the parking lot and told him he was proud. Will got in his Dodge Durango and drove home alone. The last message on Mark Norton's phone read, "See you soon." By morning, the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma, had issued its most severe classification for southwest Missouri, reserved not for dangerous days, but for days when the atmosphere is primed for mass destruction. The forecasters who issue these warnings do so with a specific dread, the dread of people who can see what's coming and cannot stop it. The sky over Joplin had gone gray-green by early afternoon. Not the green of grass, the green of pressure dropping, of air doing something it was never meant to do. At 5:17 p.m., the sirens went off. Loud, rising, unmistakable. Here is the thing about sirens in tornado country. They have cried wolf before. Joplin had heard warnings across many springs. The tornadoes had come elsewhere or never touched down. Warning fatigue is a documented condition. When the sirens sound, a significant percentage of people do not shelter. They step onto the porch. They want to see it. In Joplin that afternoon, some people went to their basements. Many did not. At 5:34 p.m., the funnel touched ground on Joplin's western edge. It was not narrow. From the first second, it was nearly a mile wide, a rotating wall of debris and 250-mile-per-hour wind with no visible edges. There was just the wall and everything behind it that was no longer standing. It crossed Rangeline Road and took out the Walmart, the Home Depot, the Academy Sports. It hit St. John's Regional Medical Center head-on, blew every window out, peeled the roof back, killed 5 patients on ventilators when the generators failed. Nurses held doors shut with their bodies. One was pulled through a window. She grabbed a pipe and held on. The tornado moved northeast through residential Joplin, block after block of wood frame houses built on the assumption that the worst that comes is manageable. The assumption was wrong. Aerial photographs taken the next morning showed concrete slabs in open air, streets with no houses, no trees, no mailboxes, no evidence that anyone had ever lived there. The concrete slabs remained. Everything human was gone. Every survivor describes the same thing: a freight train. The infrasonic roar registers in the sternum before the eardrums. You feel it, then hear it, then see it. By the time you see it, you have 4 seconds. Then it passes. The sound stops. What replaces it is a silence that felt obscene. The silence of a neighborhood that had been full of sound 38 seconds earlier and was now producing none. Jeff Lair, a reporter who had covered Joplin for 20 years, drove into the damage zone within the hour. I kept looking for landmarks and there weren't any. I drove 3 blocks before I realized I wasn't on a street anymore. 161 people died, more than 7,000 structures destroyed, 30% of Joplin erased, the deadliest single tornado in the United States in 64 years. Will Norton's Durango was found the next morning, overturned in a retention pond near 26th Street. Will was not inside it. His body was recovered 4 days later, identified through dental records. The photographs from that afternoon still existed. The house still existed. His father still existed, holding a phone with a text message that said, "See you soon." The sirens worked. The forecast was accurate. The warning went out 17 minutes before impact, and 161 people died anyway. That is not a failure of nature. That is a failure of something else. And that something else has a name. Chapter 2. While the city burned. The morning of May 23rd looked like the end of the world. A corridor 13 miles long and a mile wide cut through Joplin as cleanly as a blade. On one side, intact houses, intact streets. On the other, nothing. Concrete slabs. A child's bicycle wrapped around a telephone pole. A refrigerator in the middle of a 4-lane road. Veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan arrived with the National Guard and stopped and stared. Underneath the debris, people were still alive. Search teams from 3 states converged on a damage zone so large and so uniform that standard rescue grids were useless. There were no damaged structures to move toward. There was only a field of compressed wreckage, houses stacked on houses, and somewhere beneath it, voices. By noon on May 23rd, rescuers had pulled 17 survivors from the debris. They had also recovered 89 bodies. St. John's, the city's primary trauma center, was gone. Its 367 patients had been evacuated through debris-filled corridors, carried down unlit stairwells, transported in private vehicles. The other hospital, Freeman Health System, absorbed the entire regional load overnight, more than 1,500 patients in 72 hours, through an ER built for 150 per day. Surgeons operated by flashlight. The parking lot became a triage center. Dr. Kevin Kikta, an emergency physician at Freeman who had not left the hospital in 36 hours, described the first night. We had patients in the hallways, patients in the parking lot, arriving in pickup trucks. We had no way to know how many were coming. We had no way to know if any of them were the last ones. What the rescuers found in the debris was not random. The tornado's path cut directly through Joplin's working-class residential core. Modest, wood frame houses with no basements. This is not an accident of geography. Expansive clay soils make basement construction expensive. A basement adds $20,000 to $50,000 to a home. In working-class Joplin, that was not an option most families had. FEMA's post-disaster analysis found that homes with below-grade shelter had a fatality rate of 0.4%. Without it, 4.7%, more than 10 times higher. In careful bureaucratic language, it called this a correlation between below-grade shelter and survivability outcomes. Translated plainly, if you could afford a basement, you were significantly more likely to live. If you couldn't, you sheltered under a mattress and hoped. This was not a new finding. After Xenia, Ohio in 1974, after Wichita Falls in 1979, after Andover, Kansas in 1991. Every post-event analysis said the same thing. Wood frame construction without basements is not survivable in a direct EF5 hit. The recommendation was always the same. Community shelters, code reform, subsidized safe rooms. After each report, the same thing happened. Nothing. Mark Norton had not slept. He drove the edges of the damage zone, walked sections of it on foot, called hospitals, filed missing persons reports, moving through a city with no street signs, past landmarks that no longer existed. On May 24th, a search team found the Durango overturned in a retention pond near 26th Street. The tornado had carried a 4,500-pound vehicle and deposited it in water that appeared on no relevant map. Will was not inside. Divers searched for 2 days. On May 26th, Will's body was recovered, returned to his family 4 days after his father had last seen him alive. 4 days after, "See you soon." In the entire city of Joplin in May 2011, there was not one public tornado shelter. The city had no safe room ordinance. Missouri had no statewide building code. FEMA's Hazard Mitigation Grant Program had allocated $36 million to Missouri in the decade before the tornado. But the application process had an average project completion time per a 2012 GAO report of 6 years. 6 years from application to shelter. The tornado gave Joplin 17 minutes. Senator Roy Blunt testified before the Senate Subcommittee on Disaster Recovery in July 2011. The warnings worked. The forecasting worked. What didn't work was what happened after people heard the warning and had nowhere safe to go. President Obama visited on May 29th and told 7,000 people at a memorial, "The question is not whether we will get through this storm, but how we get through it together." The crowd applauded. What no official said plainly: the people of Joplin did not die because a tornado hit their city. They died because of policy decisions and funding failures accumulating for 30 years, made by people who would never live in a wood frame house on the wrong side of a warning. The storm was the trigger. The system was the gun. Chapter 3. What the wreckage left behind. Joplin did not disappear after the cameras left. The news cycle moved on within 2 weeks. But the debris was still being cleared. Families were living in parking lots, in tents, in relatives' homes 3 states away. The tornado lasted 38 seconds. The aftermath lasted years. More than 3 million cubic yards of wreckage were hauled out of Joplin over 4 months, enough to fill 1,000 Olympic pools. Personal belongings were found scattered across 4 states: photographs, letters, a high school diploma. The tornado had taken the intimate contents of 7,000 homes and distributed them across the Midwest without order or logic. FEMA's 428-page post-disaster report, released in November 2011, confirmed that every system had functioned correctly. The warning was adequate. The Weather Service had performed. Emergency managers had followed protocol. And then, buried in Chapter 7, homes with below-grade shelter had a fatality rate 10 times lower than those without. The report recommended further study. It did not recommend that anyone be held accountable for 30 years of prior reports saying the same thing. No one was. The rebuilding was declared a success. By 2013, 80% of destroyed structures were rebuilt or under construction. Joplin High School reopened in 2014. Mercy Hospital, built this time to withstand 250 miles per hour winds, opened in 2015. The old St. John's had not been built to those standards. In 2013, Joplin won the All-America City Award. Politicians called it resilience. FEMA included it in training materials. But recovery is not the same as justice, and resilience is not the same as accountability. 32% of families who lost homes did not return. Missouri State University researchers found that those who left were disproportionately lower income, renters, older. The FEMA disaster loans carried interest rates up to 4%, with repayment beginning within months, for families who had lost not just homes, but the jobs that would have paid those loans back. In the lower Cunningham Park neighborhood, 40% of pre-tornado residents had not returned 4 years later. Those lots were not empty because no one wanted to rebuild. They were empty because the people who had lived there could not afford to. The storm did not kill randomly, and neither did the recovery. Will Norton would have been 32 years old in 2025. He had been accepted to Liberty University. He had plans. His father had plans for him. Mark Norton gave one interview in 2016, 5 years after the tornado, when asked if there were days he didn't think about Will. He said, "Not a day, not one day." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. The Joplin tornado killed 161 people. It was not a surprise. The conditions that made it deadly: wood frame construction, no shelters, underfunded mitigation, a system that took 6 years to build what a tornado destroyed in 38 seconds, were pre-existing, documented, studied, known. 3 months later, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, 64 dead. Same conditions, same recommendations. In 2013, Moore, Oklahoma, hit catastrophically in 1999, hit again, 24 dead, including 7 children in a school with no shelter room. Oklahoma still had no statewide shelter requirement for schools. In 2021, the December outbreak killed 90 across 6 states. Same construction, same absence of shelter. After each event, hearings, reports, recommendations, resilience, recovery. After each event, the next one. The United States has the most advanced tornado forecasting system on Earth. It has known for 50 years exactly what kills people and exactly what would prevent it. What it has not done is build the shelters, because that costs money, and the people most likely to die in the next tornado are not the people who allocate the money. Will Norton sent a text at 5:21 p.m. and was dead by 5:52. He died in a country that had studied his exact death, the exact circumstances, the exact vulnerability, the exact preventable outcome, for 30 years before the day he drove home from graduation. He was not a victim of a tornado. He was a victim of the answer to a question no one in power wanted to ask. When the next one comes, and it always comes, who do we expect to survive it? The answer, written in the wreckage of Joplin and Tuscaloosa and more, and every debris field before and since, has always been the same. Not you. End of screenplay.